hello, and welcome, welcome, welcome. If you're new, welcome. If you're not new, hello, my name is Christina, and welcome to Toodle's World. Or should I say Toodle? Yeah, Toodle's World, because I'm about a little about everything. So today's video is my February wrap-up. Going through every book and tell you about it that I have read this month of February, and soon you will see my March book. I'm looking at them right now, and there's some I cannot wait to read. First book I want to talk about is not the first book that I read, but it's one of the books I read. It's Davy Jones and the Six. This book was not for me. I mean, I started reading it, yes. I got through it. And it's like a memoir, and I don't like reading memoirs. So this book was not for me, so I'm not keeping this book. I'm actually going to donate this book to my local library, because they have a spot in there where you can buy books in there where you can go and buy books. And in there, the books that you buy are usually nothing's over $1.50 when you buy a book. So I'd say over $1.50, maybe $1.25. I don't know. But anyway, it's good. The next one that I did read, and yes, some of them do have the orangey yellow looking tabs. It is the name of the book. I just have not actually put this in my jar from books that I read. This book was amazing. I liked it. I liked the concepts. She is a black author. The book was good. As the eldest daughter of the England Earls and Indian Matrix and the Club Charming and tons of flaws, she falls in love, and she falls in love with a guy that's supposed to be helping her watch over her sister and watch what her sister does. And she ends up falling in love with him. So it's pretty good. You got how do you call it, a guard that's supposed to be following you every step you take. Look at how the ridges are here. You see how the ridges are? The middle one's like really in, and the other ones are outside. It's like, that's weird. But anyway, you have a guard that watches every move you make, everything you do, and then you fall in love with him. It's like that. The next book, but it wasn't the next book I'm going to talk about, is by Nicholas Sparks, and it's 2 by 2. At 32, Russell Greene has it all. A stunning wife, a child. He has the whole 9 yards, a nice house, a good job, everything. And then eventually, it's he has no wife, no child, no amazing job, no house, basically not a nothing. He loses everything, and it's, he wants another chance. You have a good thing, but you blow it. So you're trying to save it to have a good chance to have your life come back. Another good book. Those two I'm going to keep. I'm not saying Taylor Jenkins Reid is a bad author. She's a good author, and I love the way she writes. I just could not get into the book Davy Jones and the Six. Yes, I know who Davy Jones, and it's from a Reese Witherspoon book club. I understand a Reese book club. I know who Davy Jones and the Six is because I grew up to her in the band. But the band's good. The book, they need to, now you can stream the series and watch the series, Davy Jones and the Six series. I just recently, 5 days ago, watched the movie. After I finished the book, the movie was on cable and I watched it, and I liked the movie better than I did the book. The next book is by Livy Jones. I think it's Livy. Livy. Zoe. Not Joe. Zoe. Livy Joe, and it was Mixed Business. This book started out for me kind of, and then I got really focused into it. I made sausage, beans, and cornbread for dinner one night, and the first night I was reading this book. I was actually not reading. Well, I was reading. I was trying to finish off this book, and I got the book halfway done, mostly done anyway. So then I was like, let me go grab another book because I've only got 3 chapters to read on this book and I'm done, so I can have the next book. And I grabbed Mixed Business. Well, I finished that book, and the next day, I finished that book that night. The next day, I started Mixed Business. And I did beans, sausage, and cornbread the night before. I made that for dinner, and I ate it. Then the next day, I ate 2 bowls of it for lunch. And I shouldn't have, because I ended up with gas, an upset stomach. I didn't feel so good. I started reading this book in the bathtub. Started reading this book, and I started out like on chapter 1, which was good. I started reading chapter 1, and I was laying in the bathtub, and I kept reading and reading. And usually I read 5 chapters a day in a book. I try to read at least 5 chapters a day. And then I changed it up and said, okay, I'm going to read 10 chapters a day. But when I was reading this book that day in the bathtub, literally reading it, let me see, I was already on chapter 13. By the time I was ready to get out, I said, I'm good, my stomach's fine. I got out, I was on chapter 13 in the book. And all I had was this much to read right here. And I said, I know I can get it done. Yes, don't make business of pleasure, please. It's just not. It's like Nora wanted to make her own way up to the corporate ladder, and finally, and repeating the benefits, a bigger paycheck. She wanted to basically own her own corporation. You want to know if she does? Go read the book, Mixed Business. And the author of this book is a black author that wrote this book, and I like it too. I like any author that writes a good book is good in my book. Readers' favorites. A lot of readers, and it says right here, a lot of readers give this book a 5 stars. So, I'll tell you what I rate the books in a minute. Let me finish it. Thousand Boys Kisses. So many people commented on this book. I don't care for this book. I really didn't care for this book at all. I read it. I mean, the author's good. I didn't really care too much for this book. I know that's the part 2 of this book, but I will probably get the second book anyway, maybe, and read it. But I'm going to keep this book and read it again, not next month, maybe next year. I might even put this book, because I got this book when I was 48, I may even put this book in my TBRs that I get, wrap up, and pick, and do that as well. And be able, for next year, if I pick the book 1 month, I can reread it again, and maybe see if I like it better then than I did this time. I felt like when I read the book, A Thousand Boys Kisses, that I had to read it fast, and I was in a hurry, and I had to catch up with everybody. But then I realized on my Goodreads, a lot of people says that they have not read this book yet, and they wanted to read the book. So then I was like, okay. So that's what literally made me decide to keep the book and maybe read it next year. The first first book I started reading, this is one of my picks that was wrapped up and picked, and it's by Louise Penny. It's called Glass House. This book is so good. I started reading this book on a Friday. I went to the hospital because I was feeling sick and I needed to go, and I was having a massive UTI. If you saw Tuesday's video, then you'll understand. And I started reading this book that Friday. It did not take me long at all to read this book. This book's kind of thick, but it didn't take me long. I was in the hospital, and I was sitting there with my husband waiting for them to call my name, and I opened the book. I got to page 1. I read the first page, like, let me show you. Show you what I'm talking about so you'll understand. This is like chapter 1. I got this page read, and they called my name. So, I had the bookmark through there, but I flipped it over and flipped it. Then, I had these 2 pages. And so, I was sitting there, and they called my name again. And I was reading them, and I got them 2 pages done, and put the bookmarker on the next page. And then finally, they called me in the back. I went back there, and I was able to literally finish, not the whole book, but I was able to get to chapter 5 in the book while I was in the hospital, got it read. And on the way going home, I was able to get 2 more chapters done, which was 6 and 7. So, but I did put down that I read 5 chapters when I first started out reading the book. I already put down 5 chapters because I knew when I was in the hospital I was going to have 5 chapters at least done. So before I even had the 5 chapters done, I was on Goodreads and I put that I read the first 5 chapters, even that I didn't. I haven't started the book, but I did that because I knew being in the hospital, if they put me in the hospital, at least I could say I read the first 5 chapters, and when I got out of the hospital, if the book was done, say finished. And I finished the book when I was in the hospital. So, alright, so for the Taylor Jenkins Reid book, Daisy Jones and the Six, I'm going to give that book a 2.5 stars. I really didn't care too much for it at all, so I'll give it a 2.5. For Louise Penny, for the book Glass House, I'm actually giving this a 5 stars. I do like this book. I would definitely recommend it. It is a #1 best-time seller, but it's also in a book series, and I believe it's book 13 or 15 in the book series. It will, if you're on my Goodreads account, which is under Christina Green, you'll see it. 1,000 Boys Kisses. I'm going to go ahead. I really don't want to rate this any higher, but I'll give it a 3 stars. For that book. For Mixed Business, they're right. This is a 5-star read, and I don't normally give a lot of books 5-star reads unless I know that I like the book. I'm giving that a 5-star read. For Nicholas Sparks, I love Nicholas Sparks. I'm actually going to give this a 4.5 stars. It is good. I love the book. I love the synthetic of the book. I love everything about this book. I'll put it up here. And unlike the Ladies and Lessons, this is a good read. A very good read. I'm not going to give it a 5 stars, but I will give it a 4.5 stars. It is good. I love the author. She's a black author. She's gorgeous. She's beautiful. And I like the book. So, check out any of these books. Go read them and see what you think. And see how you like them. And until next time.